Life happens fast. And in an instant, disaster could strike. When the choices you make mean the difference between life and death, what would you do? Put yourself to the test and see if you have what it takes to stay alive. Would you do or die? High in the San Gabriel Mountains of Southern California, a holiday tradition is in full swing. Every year, visitors enjoy sledding on the hill above a frozen lake. And you're about to see why this is the last year it will ever take place. One of the sledders slides out too far and falls right through the ice. Friends and family run out to help. But one after another, the would-be rescuers fall through the ice. Now, we're putting you in the place of one of the fallen rescuers. You've plunged into a frozen lake, and you only have seconds to make the right move. Could you survive this chilling death trap? What would you do? A. Kick and belly crawl out the way you fell in. B. Lose your heavy coat and tread water. Or C. Move away from where you fell in and climb out. Here's what you should consider. You're in a frozen lake. The other rescuers can't help. And you only have a few seconds to get your bearings. The instant you hit the frigid water, cold receptors in your skin trigger an immediate physiological response, known as cold shock. It's a terrifying condition, characterized by sudden and involuntary gasping, like a fish out of water. You begin to hyperventilate. You can't get enough air into your lungs. Your heart races and blood pressure spikes. Your body knows it's in a race against time. Cold water robs your body of heat 25 to 30 times faster than air of the same temperature. Like a fan versus a freezer. Spend just 10 minutes in the frigid water, and your arms and legs may become unresponsive. The clock is ticking. Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So what would you do? If you feel your coat is weighing you down, you might be tempted to lose it and tread in place until rescue can reach you. Even though you might expect your coat to feel like a lead blanket in water, it can actually trap air to help keep you afloat. And if you think treading water will help keep your body warm, it won't. In fact, it has the opposite effect. Once you start moving, you quickly lose heat as blood circulates through your cold extremities. But the main reason not to simply tread in place is that in a survival situation like this, you should never rely on someone else to save your life. So lose your coat and tread in place, and you could be doubling your chances of dying. Obviously, you need to remove yourself from the lake. The question is, how? You could move away from the thin ice where you fell in and look for stronger ice to pull yourself up. But that's tougher than it sounds. When a lake freezes over, the ice forms at the perimeter and moves inward. So you might think that the ice is stronger at the edges. In fact, that's not true. That's because the ice near land is the oldest. And as ice ages, the bonds between the crystals fall apart, like Velcro slowly separating. So even if the ice near land looks thicker, it may be weaker because of its age. Make this choice, and you're back where you started. So what should you do? If you want to survive this frozen death trap, the best thing to do is kick and belly crawl out the way you came in. Strange as it may sound, don't worry about getting out when you first fall in. All you need to worry about is not drowning. Then, once your body begins to cope with the cold shock, make your way back to the point where the ice gave way. The strongest ice will actually be where you were standing just before you fell in. After all, it was holding your weight up until then. Next, Superman your arms and pull yourself out, like this victim, to distribute your weight over the ice. Just like a seal. Once out, resist the urge to get up and run. Instead, carefully roll away from the hole and evenly spread your weight over the ice. If you don't have the strength to pull yourself out, don't panic. Just get as far out of the water as possible and stay put. If you hold your arms still, they may freeze to the ice. And that's a good thing. Lose consciousness and you'll be kept from going under, giving you more time to be rescued. The people at this lake were lucky. After 9 full minutes, all of them are pulled to safety. But because of this incident, officials now keep this lake closed through the winter. If you ever find yourself the victim of thin ice, kick and crawl back the way you came. That's how you survive this big chill. So you barely escaped an icy death. It's time to replenish some of that body heat. Perhaps with a strenuous bike ride through the countryside. Just be careful, because you never know what might lie around the next bend. Man's best friend, the dog. When looking at those puppy dog eyes, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that these are powerful animals with the killer instincts of a predator. This mountain biker is about to get a stark reminder. He's out for a scenic ride along a rural road when suddenly his trek turns deadly. It's a huge pack of dogs, and he just rode right onto their turf. Within seconds, he's surrounded by the snarling horde. If he doesn't act fast, he may be viciously mauled. Now, we're dropping you into the middle of this barking mad dog pack. Would you know how to survive? What would you do? A. Get on your bike and ride away. B. Be aggressive and stand your ground. Or C. Drop into a submissive position to show you're not a threat. Here's what you should consider. You're on a country road, completely exposed, and facing down over a dozen snarling canines. Right now, the barking animals seem to be forming a circle around you. The same thing wolves do when closing in on their prey. These distant cousins of the wolf are called Pyrenean Mastiffs, sheep-herding dogs that have been known to aggressively guard their territory. And they've got the tools to do the job. Just one of these males can weigh up to 220 pounds, the same as a varsity football player. At the head of all that power is the dog's broad skull, capable of a vicious bite. And be warned, some large breeds of working dogs have been clocked running over 30 miles per hour, far faster than most mountain bikers can ride. If you don't act fast, the dogs will. Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So what would you do? If you're worried about the dog's instinct to attack perceived threats, you may choose to drop into a submissive position. In nature, wolves may roll onto their side or back to submit to a dominant pack leader and prevent a fight. But remember, these dogs are trying to get you off their territory. If you're dropping down on the ground, you're showing them you're not going anywhere, while at the same time telling them they're more powerful than you. Roll over in this pack, and you may be submitting to a world of pain. So if giving in is the wrong way to go, maybe it's time to ride away. After all, you're on a bike. But on a bicycle, the average man can only get up to about 20 miles per hour. And that's on paved roads. Even then, that's far slower than most sheep-herding dogs can run. And they will run. Because if you take off, you'll trigger their primal predator-prey chase reflex. And in this dog race, you'd come in dead last. So what should you do? If you want to survive this snarling dog pack, the best thing to do is be aggressive and stand your ground. Notice that these dogs are snapping at the air and have their ears pinned flat against their heads. These behavioral clues are the dog's way of telling you they're nervous. That's your opening. Put your bike between you and the dogs in case they do decide to attack. Then, bark commands at the nervous pack. This lets them know they face danger if they get too close. This biker was able to protect himself while doing just that. And luckily, the dog's owners arrived just in time to keep things from escalating. Be aggressive and stand your ground. That's what you do to call off the dogs. So you managed to survive a vicious dog pack. But don't get too comfortable. We're putting your skills to the test one more time. Everyone knows the ocean can be a dangerous place. But taking a leisurely cruise along a placid waterway, what could possibly go wrong? Hang on tight, because you're about to find out. With over 1,260 miles of coastline, it shouldn't be any surprise that Florida has more boat owners than any other state. But with an average of over 600 accidents and more than 60 boat-related fatalities in Florida every year, it's a hobby that comes with serious risks. This 25-foot deck boat was just swamped by another ship's wake. Now it's taking on water at an alarming rate. And it's about to get a whole lot worse. It slams against a barge's angled bow. Now, we're putting you on deck. You only have seconds to decide how to make it out. What would you do? A. Move to the back of the boat and stay with it for as long as possible. B. Bail out and swim for it. Or C. Gun the engine to raise the flooded bow. Here's what you should consider. You're on a flooded boat, wedged against a construction barge, and in danger of sinking fast. The speed of the current pinning you to the barge is a swift 11.5 miles per hour, only 10 miles per hour slower than the water tumbling over Niagara Falls. But it's not just the speed of the water that poses the danger. It's also the weight. Nearly a ton for each cubic yard pushing against your boat. Fortunately, federal law requires boats like yours to include added flotation, buoyant foam injected into the hull meant to keep it water level, even after being swamped. But is it enough to keep your head above water? Make your choice. A. B. Or C. So what would you do? If you think you can power out of this mess, you could try to gun the engine to raise the bow. It works for boats that aren't swamped. But from the moment the front of your boat sank below the surface, it became one giant scoop. As the engine drives your craft forward, the weight of the water will continue to push it down. Gun the engine, and you're motoring toward disaster. That doesn't seem to leave you with many good options. But since the boat is made to stay afloat, you might think to move everyone to the back and stay with it for as long as possible. And that would be the correct answer if you were lost at sea. In the open ocean, experts advise you to stay close to a sinking ship to make it easier for rescuers to spot you. But this isn't open ocean. In this situation, if you're standing under the awning at the back of the boat and it goes under, or worse, rolls belly up, the sunshade could block you from swimming back to the surface. Move to the back of the boat in this scenario, and you chose wrong. So what should you do? If you want to get away from this sinking ship, bail out and swim for it. Once in the water, move with the current to the outer edges of the barge and continue swimming until you make it to shore or until rescue can reach you. In this case, the Coast Guard was only 100 yards away and able to pull most of the victims from the water. But sadly, 2 of the 11 people on board lost their lives. It's a tragic reminder of just how fast a leisurely excursion can turn deadly.